Okay, let's flip that now. So what would you say to parents who maybe aren't familiar with the kinds of emotional and psychological stresses that youth can have in terms of what could they be, how to talk to your child about it in a healthy way, how to get help?
I think that the biggest piece is, when you become aware of certain experiences that has impacted um, your relationship with your child, then change begins to happen, because change is always preceded by a vision. And when you become aware, the shift begins to happen automatically. So a place to start is to engage in active listening. A child as young as right after birth, when the child is born, is able to communicate, maybe not verbally but non-verbally, and express their needs. So the foundation is set from the very beginning, and starting um, to connect with the person, and listening to them, validating their experience, would be a place to start, because everything begins with the relationship, right? Where when you're able to connect with the person, you don't need many things common to be able to connect with the person in a relational place. So sometimes the goal is not, to when somebody is in the analogy of somebody sitting in a hole, and the human um, draw is to often pull somebody out of the hole, right? So you put a rope in and you're pulling the person out of the hole, and sometimes that's not what is helpful. And because parents would likely want to rescue children, and difficult seeing their pain, sometimes it is really about digging a larger hole and making yourself available in that space, so that it creates a safe space to expand, and really talk about what happens in that space together.
That rescue analogy really makes sense. It's very common for us to look at feelings that are heavy as negative, and okay, we need to throw those out. And so you're not seeing the, okay, well, what is there something here to be seen? There's value in feeling that way.
Right, absolutely. And sitting with distressing feelings, right? To being able to tolerate painful emotions is an important part of growth in our life. And we all go through that experience. Usually, our disposition is wanting to change those feelings, and sometimes we cannot, right? So, expanding the space and creating opportunities to be in the being mode rather than the doing mode can be very helpful in expanding and strengthening the relationship.
Again, something very, very common. We don't really talk about what it means to just be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's generally how we all are wired, right? The doing mode, right? So there's a structure, there's a routine, and if you look at the larger picture of going through this pandemic, a lot of are relying today to be able to cope with shutdowns and lockdowns, and keeping safe, has been about in the being mode, because
Mm-hmm.
we cannot do all those external things that can be stimulating. And resorting to your own internal resources of self-soothing, of grounding yourself, um, and calming yourself, are the ways that we have been able to work through. We're still working through a lot of it, and in for the long haul for sure. But those are the experiences that is going to help us work through this time as well.
Well, the one maybe good thing we've got from this pandemic is people are at least now more getting more aware of the fact that their mental health is something that needs to be tended to.
Right. And Brene Brown has a really powerful quote that's always resonated with me. And she says that we're never meant to do it alone.
Mm.
So reaching out and accessing support in whatever shape and form it comes is really key to healing.
Another episode of the Speak Real podcast, sharing one-on-one conversations. We believe that storytelling is the best way to empower youth and give them the platform to find their voices.
Presented by YouthSpeak. Youth experience, youth voice, youth empowered.